All right. Hi, guys. It is April. Is it 26th, 25th? I don't even know what date it is.
26.
26th. Hi, guys. I'm Angie Solar. I am here with Calie, Calabrese, and I am so honored to be able to really take your questions. And if you guys want to write in, we're going to be talking about AD obsession. Some of you might not even know what 80-day obsession is, depending on when you see this video, but I know hundreds of thousands do, and we want to get a look into it from Calie herself, from the beginning process through the end of that first 80-day journey, and then moving on to round two, and this the whole lifestyle in general. So thank you, Calie, so much for being on.
Sure, I'm so happy to be here. I hope you guys can understand me because my voice is still a little bit gone from Success Club trip. But
And that was so funny. I was stalking your Instagram stories yesterday, and I messaged Calie. I said, "Is your voice okay? Do I need to wait? Because, I want you to feel good." She's like, "Yeah, I'm getting better day by day."
Yep.
Okay, so first thing is, can you just give us a brief summary about 80-day obsession and when it was presented to you, what you thought about it?
Sure. Okay. So first of all, when I moved from Nashville to LA last February, Autumn was developing 80-day obsession, and my boys and I moved in with her. So, like we'd get up in the morning and she'd be like, "I'm going to work out. You want to work out with me?" We do these workouts. And I was like, "Woo, these are hard. All right." And I was like, "I'm going to be in good shape though." So we were kind of like doing the workouts and she'd test things out on me and be like, "What do you think of this? What do you think of that?" And the way that 80 Days ended up getting presented to me to participate was somebody at Autumn video herself teaching one of the workouts to somebody. And they just wanted to see like how it translated to talk through all the different moves because there's a lot of compound movement, upper and lower body working together, engaging your core and all of that. So there's a lot of pieces. And she was like, I was there. So she's like, "Hey, let me teach it to you." So they set up all these videos and they record it. Well, we're sisters. So like we're doing it. And naturally we're kind of like bantering back and forth, teasing each other, like making jokes about it, whatever. And so then Beachbody watches it and they were like, oh, because knowing that they were going to film this as like a live, engaging thing, they were like, "Oh, we like the energy between you guys. Your sister has good form," which that just happened to me because I taught bar for so many years. "You should have her audition." And I'm like, "No." She's like, "So they want you to audition." I'm like, "No way, not a chance. That's your thing. I'm not going in front of a camera in front of all these people. My life's a mess right now. Like, how am I going to make that work? The kids, da 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 da. Like, that's a huge commitment. What if I fail? Then I'm letting you down. I'm letting Beachbody down. I'm letting the program down." Like, ooh, I was like, "No." And she just wouldn't let up. She's like, just audition. That doesn't even mean you have to do it. Just come audition. Like, they might not even pick you. So like went on and on. But anyways, by the time we got to the audition, I'd been doing these workouts with her. And there was like this little part in the back of my mind that's kind of like, this might be life changing, but I'm terrified. I don't want to do it. Like, so I was really like back and forth about it. And then when they picked me, it was still kind of one of those things where it was like, I never had lifted heavy. Like I said, I taught bar, you guys. It's all body weight. The heaviest weights we had at my bar studio were 3 pounds. So I'd never lifted heavy. 80 days, I was like, what if I get sick? What if my kids get sick? It was like this huge, overwhelming thing. And finally, it was just like, okay, but what if I do great at it? Like, what if I get good results? What if I succeed? What if I show up for all 80 days? How's that going to change my life? And it was like, I just had to finally make the mindset shift to like be brave and put myself out there and give it a shot. And obviously, as you guys know, if you've done it at least once now, is like one of the best things I've ever done in my life. So I'm really glad that I put my fear aside and took a leap of faith and went for it.
What I love is that you had to audition. It wasn't as if, hey, it's her sister, duh, like no brainer, we're putting her in this for the filming for the cast.
No, I always tell people, I'm like, have you met my sister? She would not put me in these videos if she didn't think I could do it. She'd be like, sorry, boo, this is not for you.
Love you, mean it.
Love you, mean it, but no, we're
You
gonna
can
go.
watch,
Yeah,
from the bench.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
okay. So I love the fact that you even talked about, just your life where it stood. You said it was a bit of a mess. And I think that'll speak to so many people who say it's not the right time.
Uh,
And to that, I think it was Jeff Hill. He was one of our diamond leaderships. He said, it's never the right time, but you make it the right time. And that's what I really feel like you did.
it's like, okay, I mean, you have options. Like, you can look at it and go like, oh, it's 80-day obsession. Like, I have to be obsessed with it. I have to be perfect. Like, sure, you want to give it your all and try your absolute best, but like, isn't doing it imperfectly better than not doing it at all? And I think that's kind of the attitude you have to have. Like, yes, I went all in when I committed to it and I tried my best to do it, as the program was designed to get the best results. But it people used to say this about having babies all the time. Like, there's never a right time. There's never a right time for anything in your life because life is life. You have no idea what is going to happen minute to minute, hour to hour, day to day. And so if you're always waiting for the perfect moment, you're never going to do anything. And I think the thing that people don't necessarily realize is they go into this program thinking, I want better abs, I want a better butt, or I want to lose 20 pounds, or I want to put on muscle, whatever it is. Those are all great goals, and that will happen with 80-day obsession. But I've never done any kind of fitness or health program, and I've been into it my whole life since high school. Like, not that my weight hasn't fluctuated, but like I've always done things. And this program will change your whole life because the way that you get focused, first of all, it ends up creating like organization in every aspect of your life. It's like you get disciplined in one area and it spills over into all these other areas. But you have to be mentally strong as you go through this program. It's like every day you're going to go, that looks impossible. And then you're going to do it. And then you're going to be like, wow, I did that. And then like the next thing that comes along that feels impossible, you're going to be like, well, I did that. So maybe I can do this. And you do that for 80 days. And it's like, you just keep proving to yourself, like, I can do hard things. And you get stronger and stronger and stronger every day. So maybe in phase 1, you're doing all the push-ups on your knees. But then all of a sudden in phase 2, you're like, wow, I did half of those on my toes. And then in phase 3, you're like, I can knock out 15 tricep push-ups without dropping my knees. And it's like, you realize that when you just keep showing up for yourself, it gets a little bit easier every single time. The thing that blew me away the most was how much progress you could make in 1 week with this program. Like literally 1 week.
Yep.
Changes everything. So it's a game changer. For me, it was more mental than physical. Like, I got great physical results and I was super happy with it. But what changed was my mind. That was the biggest thing.
Yes.
And that ended up changing my whole life. Like, it gave me the confidence to finally really be a coach. I dabbled for 4 years, you guys. I was like, maybe I'll do it. I'll help a couple people. But if it hadn't been for 80-day obsession, I never would be doing what I'm doing right now.
I love that because we're coming to a question on that in a little bit, but I wanted to just make sure we dove into enough overall about what 80-day obsession is and who it's for. And I think it is important to note that it is intermediate. And so someone who is a beginner, they will want to do a little obsessed to see where they are at, physically from a fitness standpoint.
Absolutely. I think that's really true because, you also don't want to go into it and just feel like, oh, this is so challenging that you like injure yourself. You need to have like a level of body awareness. So if you've never worked out or if it's been like a really long time and you're just very out of shape, that's what a little obsessed is for. It's going to get your body familiar with the moves and it's going to allow you to build some core strength, a little bit of like upper body and lower body strength, a little bit of flexibility, and learn the moves at a slower pace and a lower intensity so that when you hit 80-day obsession and the workouts are more compound movements, you know how to find it in your body, like how to feel it and how to do it safely. So maybe you don't get as deep into a lunge in the beginning, but you can still lunge, and you learn like where to press your weight. Oh, if I push in my heel, I'm going to feel this more in my butt versus feeling it in my thigh. Just, 80 day or a little obsessed, like really walks you through that and gets your body prepared for it. And you can kind of do, I like that a little obsessed is a week, because you can do as many weeks of it as you feel you need to prepare yourself. And it's still an awesome workout. I did total body core from a little obsessed 2 days ago. And I was like, ooh, I forgot how hard that was. Like, it's 30 minutes, but you're getting a workout.
Awesome. Okay, so the next question that I want to ask is in regards to, okay, we know that this is a complete package, right? You have all the program materials, you have the tools, resources, you have the coaches. I had to do it alongside my challengers. I didn't have the availability to do it before them. So that was an interesting, unique challenge.
Yeah.
But now going to the nutrition part, which we know is really the most important. I mean, physically, yes, we are getting our bodies stronger that can take, punches, and our mind physically, whatever. But I wanted to ask this specific question in regards to the nutrition plan, because I know so many people who sometimes they don't like to be open-minded. Maybe they've done something, or, I hear keto is very, very popular right now. And it's like some don't want to do a different type of approach. How would you answer that in
yeah,
the best way, I guess?
A good question. Here's the thing. The nutrition plan is very carefully and very specifically designed to fuel your body for these workouts. So it's giving you the energy to get through them. It's giving your muscles and joints what they need to recover from them. It's keeping your metabolism burning throughout the day. So a lot of people are like, I don't want to do time nutrition. I don't want to eat every 3 hours. I feel like I'm eating too often. Like, especially in the beginning, people surprisingly are like, it's too much food. I'm eating too much too often. It's not an issue of them feeling like deprivation. But the thing is, when you're eating this clean, your body is really utilizing everything you put into it, because you're putting things into it that it's like, I recognize that. I know how to use that. I'm going to burn that right up. Boom, 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 boom. You need to keep eating every 3 hours. That, from a health perspective, I'm going to get like health coach preachy for a second. It's the best way to eat overall for the bulk of the population, for 2 reasons. I mean, we know like your stomach's as big as your fist. Your body can only process, digest, and use so much fuel at one time. So when you eat, like, I know a lot of people who are like, I just eat one big meal a day. I'm like, guess what? That half of that was wasted, because all you did was slow down your digestion, clog up your whole digestive system, because your body can't process all that food at once. It can only use so much of it. It only needs so much of it for energy. So it's way more likely to go store the excess as fat, because you can't use it all at one time. When you can't use it, that's what happens. It gets stored as fat to be used later. So when you're taking in more than your body can use at one time, you're actually sort of like, people think like, oh, that's how I'll get lean. No, you're actually defeating the purpose. Like, you're doing the opposite. And then just from a health perspective, like, all that kind of sits. It sits heavy. It sits slow. It moves slowly. All the blood is going to get pushed to your digestive system to try to help process that. It gives you brain fog. It makes you tired and sluggish. It makes you less focused. So when you eat every 3 hours, you give your body a portion that it can truly utilize. So you feel lighter, you get leaner, your body burns fat for energy in between, so you lose all that yucky fat. Your mind is clearer and you're more focused and energized, and it will even help you sleep better, because at night your body's not trying to digest some massive huge meal that you ate at 7 o'clock right before you went to bed and laid there and did nothing. So it keeps your metabolism just like that. It keeps your blood sugar, so that stabilizes your mood, so you're not, it prevents cravings. Like, it's literally the smartest way to eat. So, and you're getting so many plants. there is no doubt about the fact that plant-based nutrition is the way to go. That doesn't mean you have to be vegan or vegetarian. It doesn't mean you can't eat animal products. But all of the nutrients and antioxidants that our cells need to rejuvenate and to produce every aspect of our body, including our hormones and, our nervous system, comes from plants. So eating lots of vegetables and lots of fruits and even like the whole grains, like in the sweet potatoes, that's like, people see their skin, their hair, their nails, all of that change on 80-Day Obsession because they've never been so well nourished. So, I mean, as a health coach, this is how I would tell people to eat. This is like, if I was coaching you one-on-one, this is how we would be working.
I love that. And I feel like you probably could have done this to me at the Success Club trip a couple times.
I've done that to all of us on the Success Club.
Right?
That's what life's about, balance. Like, you can still have fun,
Yeah.
You don't have to be perfect all the time. But, and that's, second round, like I say I was 90-10. And I like to explain it to people too, because they're like, 90 is still like pretty perfect. Here's my philosophy. 85-15 is a healthy, long-term, maintainable, balanced lifestyle. But if you go into it saying I'm going to be 85-15, I promise you, you're 75-25.
Ooh.
Because we're not honest with ourselves about.
No. I had chills.
When it comes to food. So you say I'm going to be 90-10 so that you fall at 85-15. It's like a mental thing,
So mental. I also thank you so much for that explanation. I'm going to rewatch that actually. But now I wanted to talk briefly about, you're going to mess up the first couple weeks. It's going to take time to get down this new way of time nutrition. Mm-hmm. And I have so many people feeling defeated. And I'm like, listen, y'all, just keep with it. Just stick with it. There are going to be days that it's going to be off. Some days I traveled. It was so much that I didn't get enough food in, and my body felt it. And so I knew what needed to be tweaked because of that. Maybe I needed to prepare a little bit more.
Yep.
So
this is why it's 80 days. This is what I tell everybody in my challenge groups. It's 80 days for a reason. 80 days to learn how to do this. 80 days to learn about your body. 80 days to make it a lifestyle. You're not going to go into it and be perfect on day one, and nobody expects you to. That's why it's 80 days, So the first 2 weeks, you just have to go into it with the mindset of, that's your learning curve. You're figuring this thing out. You're learning how to meal prep. How many vegetables do I need to make? I remember Carrie from the cast coming in and being like, I thought I made all the vegetables for the week and they were gone in 2 days. And she was like, I had to go back to the grocery store, because you don't realize like how much they cook down. If you're not used to eating like that, you don't realize like how much you fit in that little green container. You look at it and you're like, oh, that's like 4 pieces of broccoli. But no, you can fit more. So you're going to like have work things and you're going to mess up. And then you're going to go, oh, I feel so much better though yesterday when I was on plan. And that's going to motivate you to stick with it. Sometimes the days that we mess up are just as important to our journey as the days we're perfect, because they're the days that show us why we do this, why we put in the work, and why we keep going, because you feel the difference. You need those days. So on those days, just go like, all right, I messed up. I learned something about myself, about my body, about this process, and I'm back on it. And you don't have to wait until tomorrow to get back on it. You had a donut at your kid's school and you're like, oh, I'm so mad at myself. I can't believe I ate a donut. Don't not eat your next meal on plan, and don't just like throw the day away and go like, well, today's ruined. I'll start over tomorrow. No, next choice. It's one choice at a time. Take it one choice at a time. If you mess up your choice at 10 a.m., make your choice at 1 p.m. a better choice. You just keep going one choice at a time.
Love it. Okay, now on to the phases. Can we just briefly talk about what to expect in phase 1, 2, and 3 versus weight loss, muscle gains, that kind of thing, so people have an idea of what to expect? Now, everyone's different, but just an idea of what to expect.
Yeah. Everyone's different, but there definitely were themes. And I've done it twice now, and I've seen the test group go through it, and the cast go through it, and Autumn go through it, and then I've taken 250 people through it on the last round. So like, I've definitely seen the common themes. Phase 1 is the learning phase. It's not as much compound movement. and you don't have refeed days or anything like that yet in phase one, you're kind of like finding your groove with the program. And most people aren't used to eating that clean or working out that intensely and using like the bands and things like that. So a lot of people experience weight loss in the first round. Most people will experience some weight loss. So, and you'll see that in different ways, whether you see it, the number on the scale, or in your pictures or in your measurements. But that's why before and after photos, weight, and measurements are so important in this program, you guys, because everybody's body's going to change in really unique ways. And you're going to doubt the process at least once during this program, if not 20 times. And if you don't have those to go back and look at and to see your progress, then you're going to be more likely to judge yourself harshly, to be frustrated, and to even quit. So do your before, after photos, weight, and measurement at the beginning and at the end of each phase. So phase one, most people lean out a little bit, they lose weight. Phase two, your body's starting to get used to this. We add in compound movements. You bump up your weights. We've been depleting glycogen, which is sugar, from our muscles for 6 weeks. And we introduce refeed days, which helps to restore those muscles. So your weight loss for most people slows down in phase two. That's normal. That's expected. That's what's supposed to happen. This is a long-term program. So I gained in phase two. A lot of people gain in phase two. You're gaining muscle. Don't freak out. You're not gaining fat. Look at the nutrition plan. It's impossible. If you're gaining fat, then stop and look at how true you're being to the nutrition program, because it'd be impossible to gain fat on such a clean nutrition regimen. So you're gaining lean muscle and your body's adjusting. Then phase three is what I like to call the shrimp phase. First of all, it's got all the jumping. So like, get ready to jump. Second, you put on muscle in phase two. Muscle burns more than fat. Like we all know that. So you put on this muscle and you get to phase three and your body's like, oh, I got all this muscle now. And it's like your metabolism is revved up and it's going. And then you start jumping in all these workouts. And that's where your body's just going to go like, shoop. And it's going to like just lean out and tighten up and tone up. And then you hit peak week. And that's just like the polisher, just like the finish touch. So don't skip peak week. It's important.
I get the polisher.
Polisher.
Awesome. Thank you. You are so well polished yourself in answering these questions. I mean, I'm sure you've been through a time or two. Okay. So now we're getting to, you finished 80 day. Mm-hmm. Now what?
Well, you just put in all this hard work. You obviously you keep going. Like you definitely don't quit at this point. Like you spent 80 days making a new habit and creating a new healthy lifestyle. Like, so, okay, we finished filming 80 Day Obsession October 27th. And then it didn't launch to all of you guys till January 15th. So we had, you know, and Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween all fell in that window. But I continued to work out every day. Because we have BOD, like I picked and choose, you know, I would do some 80 Day Obsession workouts depending on how much time I had. I did some a little obsessed. I went back and was like, let me see how I handle 21 Day Fix Extreme after this. You know, it's a good test. So I kind of hodgepodge it and just like messed around with different workouts, but I kept my time nutrition. I, you know, tweaked my containers a little bit. This was my basically, here's how I live in maintenance with 80 Day Obsession. I keep my pre-workout and post-workout, my workout block intact. Like that's what I use. But depending on the program I'm doing, my containers might be a little bit different. But I always get my carbs in early in the day because that's when your body needs the most energy. I don't need energy to go to bed at night. So I don't want to really save my yellows for dinner. So before and after my workouts, that's when I want to have my yellows and my purples. So like I'm doing chisel right now. So I just look at my containers and I kind of tweak my workout, make myself a workout block. And then I look at the containers I have left for the rest of the day and I just break them up so that I'm eating every 3 to 4 hours maybe. So like the workouts aren't as intense as 80 Day Obsession. So I want to look at my containers that I have for the program I'm doing. Then I take those containers and I kind of break them up 80 Day Obsession style. I give myself a workout block And you have more flexibility when you're doing another program. So like I can move things around. Like if I want a blue, you know, or if I want a purple and a yellow, which I don't get during 80-day obsession. I never have a purple with a yellow. But now I can have a purple with a yellow. You know, so you can move things around and tweak it a little bit. But I keep a workout block intact. I follow the containers for the program that I'm on, and I try to eat every 2 to 4 hours consistently. That's how you keep, you know, the lifestyle going. And obviously push play and work out every single day.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna rethink yellows for dinner now.
I mean, I'm not saying never do it.
No,
like, especially if I'm going out or something like that, or like having people over and I'm like, we're going to have a pizza night or we're going to grill out and I want like a gluten-free bun or something like that. But most days my yellows go early in the day because that carbs are your energy source. That's what they're there for. So I want to eat them when I need energy, you know. And so I save them for my nighttime meals. Like that's more like I'm going out or having a treat or whatever.
Okay. Now I want to shift gears to the cast. What time of day did you guys actually film?
9 a.m. Pacific.
Awesome. Okay. So every day, so you had that specific schedule. I mean, like I would assume, because that way you guys are used to that. And I just for some reason thought, oh man, I bet you they're preparing their meals for them, you know, to make sure they're on track. But that was anything but the truth, huh?
Yeah, no, we had to make our own food and we had to show up with it ready to go. They filmed our food. They filmed us eating our pre-workout meal. Like we brought it to set. They filmed us eating our post-workout meal, having our recover after our workouts. The most they prepared for us was there was a bar that you guys can see in the back of the workout videos. And there was a bucket of ice, a blender, a bag of recover, and some bananas sitting there. They didn't even make our shakes for us. We had to make them when we finished the workout. So we were in it as much as you guys. And Autumn and Donald and I lived together until mid-September, all three of us. So we would be in the kitchens, all of us, splitting it up on Wednesdays and Sundays. You should have seen the refrigerator. Like you open it up. Plus I have 2 kids and Autumn has 1 kid. Like it's just like meal prep, like so much food. And then I'm like, hey, who ate my sweet potato? Like, you know, so it's like we had to do it and it was chaos at first, but you find your groove. And by the end, I had it down. Like I could meal prep 1 hour Wednesday, 1 hour Sunday, boom, done. But the first time I did it, it took me 4 hours. So that's another thing. Just know, like, you'll figure it out. You'll find how it gets easy, but it might take you a while in the beginning because you're looking at your list. Like, what do I need? I got to put this with this. I have to have this meal with that. It takes a minute. But once you've done it for a couple weeks in a row, it gets much easier.
And being that this was such a new experience for you, being on cast, being recorded, were there moments in certain movements that you thought, can I finish this? Am I going to be able to finish this round?
Yes. Okay. So first of all, does anybody else ever have to push pause on their workout to go pee? Like, okay, I had 2 kids, like jump. No, I'm going to pee my pants. Okay. So I was like so nervous about that. I was like, every time I was like, is there jumping? Is this cardio day? I need black pants. Give me black pants. Like, so, I mean, there were obviously like fears and insecurities. I mean, we're girls, we get our period. I was like, oh my God. Like I would be like, it was, what's the 2-minute warning? They would give us a 2-minute warning and we would all run to the different bathrooms and like everybody would try to pee, change their tampon, whatever you had to do, like very last second before they were like, and action. So we also had a barf bucket in the back corner because it was like, what if? I mean, you all know Donald threw up in his mouth. He swallowed it. Disgusting.
Oh, I remember that.
And there were days, I mean, I would look at Jasmine a couple times during the workouts and I was like, my legs are done. Like I can't keep going. And it's like, you know, we encouraged each other. And obviously there's a certain level of adrenaline that comes with knowing there's 100 people watching you live and thousands of people are going to watch this at some point. Like you get an adrenaline boost and you get through it. But there were absolutely days where I was like, no. And there were also days though where I was like, yeah, there's no way I can do this. And I picked up lighter weights and then I finished it and I was like, could have done it. I could have done it. Like, and then I would be mad at myself. Like, and I learned by the end of phase 1, I learned to always go heavier because I can always do more than I think I can. And I also learned that it's okay to set my weights down. Like if you really watch the videos, there are points where we'll drop our weights and pick up lighter ones because our form's starting to go or whatever. But it's better to start and do as many as I can with the heavy and set it down than the other way around and finish the workout and go. You can't get it back at that point. You can't go back and be like, I could have done heavier.
Yeah, I paid such close attention to everything, Autumn was telling us and her instruction. And I love that she explained why she was either dropping to a lower weight or maybe going to a heavier weight, and why she was changing bands out. Well, my body is, I don't have as much, mobility. So this is what I'm going to do. And this is why. So I really appreciate that. And then you could in turn reflect and learn more even about your body. So I thought that was really cool. So, okay, I guess it's fair to assume you guys had a great time on set.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Laughed a lot, probably screamed a little too with some of the pain.
Yes.
How is it working together as sisters? Was it just so much fun? Was there any,
yeah, I mean, it's like sister stuff, like 90% of the time, super fun. Like, there's just like the competitive, like, she would always go, what are you lifting? Well, you're not going to outlift me. Like, obviously I'm not going to outlift you. Like, well, I'm not even going to try. And we have different body types. Like I lift lighter on my lower body because my butt's already big. Like I'm not trying to get booty gains. Like I want it to be tight and lifted. I don't need it to get any bigger. And she's trying to get her butt to be bigger. So she's like, like with her 30s, and I'm like, give me 15s because I can't fit in my pants. So, recognizing that we're different and like teasing each other about that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, there were days where we walked in there, we lived together, and I was like, you're on my last nerve today, and she was the same. And she was like, I mean, you're making me crazy, like there were obviously times like as sisters where we were just kind of like, all right, let's do this again today together, but we obviously have a strong bond. We get along great. If you can live together and work together for really, it was like 120 days straight because we had rehearsals and planning and, all that kind of stuff. Like that's pretty good. It's pretty good. But yeah, and we had lots of like little inside jokes. Like we always go home and watch Kevin Hart or Two Broke Girls. And, if you could really like hear everything we were saying, like most of the time we're quoting a TV show or a movie, like an inside joke. And that's where pineapples came from. It was like we were doing the Renegade Rose, and we always joked about pineapples being Kevin Hart's safe word. And we would say it at home. Like the kids would be driving us crazy. And I'd be like, I call pineapples on this day, And so we were doing the Renegade Rose, and I was just like, pineapples. And we didn't think it was going to become a thing. It wasn't planned. It was just kind of like, that's an inside joke between me and Autumn, and now it became an obsession joke.
I love one of Christina's top 10. Like I've never seen so much pineapple apparel in my life.
I mean, how weird is that? It just randomly happened to be the like theme of fashion this year.
Yep. Okay. What was the most helpful thing that Autumn did to help you succeed over the 80 days? And the reason we're asking that is specifically, Sarah asked this question. Her sister is doing it with her this round, and she's really, interested in hearing about what it is that as a sister, how did she help you the most to succeed with the 80-day program?
Well, the thing is, like with sisters, like I think I even say this on set one day. It's like she knows me better than anybody else. So had it just been like a regular trainer, like those moments when I'm like having self-doubt or thinking like I can't do it or picking up the lighter weights, like she knows me at a deeper level. She knows maybe like what I'm going through that day, and she knows what to say to get through to me. So it's like when I'm doubting myself and I might be saying, yeah, my shoulders are tired, I'm picking up 8s today. And then she's like, no, you're not, you're picking up 10s. And it's like, we can look at each other, and I know she knows what's going on in my head. And it's like, all right, she thinks I can do it, so I'm going to do it. It's just, I don't even know if I can like explain it. It's just, she was able to push me in a different way. She knew how to push my buttons too. Like she knows how far to push me and when to hold back. Like there were days in cardio where she's walking around, everybody like, get your knees up, get your knees up, get your knees up. And I know like she can look in my eyes and know can I push her right now? Or is she giving me everything she's got? And so if she came up to me and pushed me, I knew I could do more. But I also knew she wouldn't ever push me past what I could do. There were times where she would look at me, she knew, she moved on to the next person. So it's just knowing when it's your sister and you know they know you at that like deeper level, it's like you can have more trust in what they're saying to you. And it helps you to push yourself more. And she knows like too, like I'm competitive. So if she comes up next to me and is like, let's knock out some push-ups on our toes, I'm going to knock out some push-ups on my toes. Like, I'm not going to go drop down to my knees. I'm just not, you know? So it's a fun, unique way. And if I'd gone through that program with anybody else, it would have been a little bit of a different experience for me. Sure. So I think just as a sister, it's like, just, yeah, you know each other at a deeper level. So just use that to fuel each other and encourage each other.
And what would you say to siblings that one is just not open-minded? Like you're really wanting them to do it with you and you know you'll get them eventually, but what could be some advice to a sibling that's just, you know, I don't want to do it?
You just have to love them where they're at. Maybe they're not ready. Because honestly, it's like the coaching thing for me in Autumn. You know, I signed up to be a coach when Fix Extreme came out. So what was that, like 4 years ago? And I didn't really do it until now. She never judged me. She never made me feel bad about it. Like she might tease me sometimes and like we'll look back now and go like, where would I be if I had stuck with it 4 years ago? Like I could beat myself up. And I'll say that to her. Like I remember actually crying to her about that when 80 Day Obsession was starting. And she was like, it wasn't your time. Now's your time. So now we go get it. And I think as a sibling, like, you know, and you keep asking, you keep inviting, you keep encouraging, but then you also you have to love them where they're at, and they're not going to do it until they're ready. So you just have to recognize that. Don't take it personally, and don't stop asking though, because you know what's best for them. You want what's best for them, but you have to be patient with them.
I love that. Yep. It's like, yeah, you don't stop inviting, like even your family. So yes. Awesome. Well, this question did say, how did Autumn finally convince you to become a coach? But was it Autumn that convinced you or just said you should do it? Or was it?
It was 80 Day. Well, here's what really happened, I guess. Like, so when we were getting ready to start 80 Day Obsession, I think a lot of people were doing like prepare to be obsessed groups. And I was kind of like, I was a coach and I had like dabbled, I had done challenge groups here and there. And I had some people that were interested and like friends that were watching, like I had just moved, like what's Calie doing? And so I was like, all right, I'm going to do a prepare to be obsessed group. So while I was filming 80 Day Obsession, I was taking a group of people through prepare to be obsessed. And we did like basically all of Autumn's programs. We did 21 Day Fix, Fix Extreme, and then a little obsessed came out. And I guess during that time, like I told you guys, going through 80 Day Obsession, like my mindset, everything about me was changing, and I was like finding myself for the first time in 14 years. Well, it helped me be a better coach. And so like everything I was going through, I was just pouring it into this group. And by the time that group got like halfway through, I was getting all this really positive feedback. And like I said, like I've been a health coach for almost 10 years. I said this in my Instagram post yesterday, but it was like, I never had the confidence to really run with it. And so I never helped that many people because I didn't believe that I could. And as I started to see that people in my group were getting really great results and their lives were changing and they were lifting me up. They were like thanking me and like saying how excited they were for the group. And I was like, maybe I can do this. You know, it became part of my confidence journey. So I gained so much confidence during 80 Day Obsession, and I was running that prepare to be obsessed group and people got results. And I was like, maybe I can help people by doing this. And then I loved 80 Day Obsession so much. So by the time it was over, I had all these people that were in my current group saying, we want to do 80 Day Obsession. And I was like, all right, I've done it. I'm a cast member. I experienced it. I loved it. I believe in it. Obviously I should invite people to do this with me. I really like had no expectation of it being what it was though. Like I was going to coach on the side and go get a 9-to-5 job. And then the program launched on January 15th. And all of a sudden it was like stuff was happening and more people wanted to be in the group and more people wanted to be in the group. And I started with 75 people. And by the time the first round of 80-day obsession was over, there was 250 people in my group. And so I guess it kind of happened when I got the confidence to make it happen, you know, like that was the thing. It's like when I believed I could do it, then I did it.
And I think too, having those first wins, you know, those people that sign up, and then you have those clients that you work with. And I know for some coaches, they're so terrified thinking that no one's going to want to sign up with them. But if they have that mindset, then that's what they might be putting out there as well.
Yeah. And the other thing is during the 80-day obsession, like when I started to learn so much about myself and I started to like really understand like the journeys that people go on and everything and like what we can own and what's our responsibility and what is somebody else's responsibility. I always went into things like this with health coaching, whether it's private clients or groups, feeling ownership over somebody's results. Like if they failed, it's because I failed them. But I came to realize that that's their journey. I can't do the work for them. So I can give them the information. I can give them the motivation. I can give them accountability. You know, as long as I'm showing up and putting in my part, that's all I can do. So if they don't get results, I let go of the guilt and I let go of the, like, I must have failed them. You know, I can only look at what I put in. And if I showed up for my group every day and somebody, because I've even had people blame me, you know, and you take that super personally because, you know, I want people to get results. I like passionately want people to be the best version of themselves and to feel the health changes that I have felt going on these journeys. And so when they don't, you can take it really personally. But I learned to let that go and release it, and it made me a better coach.
Awesome. Oh, I think I needed to hear that message right there. Thank you. Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about what are your favorite foods and your favorite, I guess, non-foods, like what you do for self-care.
Okay. Well, first of all, I have a self-care calendar on my website. It's coachcalie.com. It's free. Just scroll down on the homepage. It's kind of hard to find because when they designed my website, they didn't put a picture with it, but it says like self-care ideas, download here. And it's like, it's got 30, it's like a calendar and there's 30 days and it gives you like all my ideas of what I do for self-care. So you guys can check that out. But I think self-care varies. My favorite things to do are foam roll, Epsom salt baths. I love doing personal development. I love The Universe Has Your Back, May Cause Miracles. Marianne Williamson and Gabby Bernstein are two of my favorite authors. So I listen to them on Audible all the time. Music is self-care for me. So like in the morning, a lot of times I just have on like classical music or when I'm working, but like when my kids are driving me crazy or I just need an energy boost, then it's like booty music and we dance, you know, whatever. Like that's self-care for me. A glass of red wine is self-care for me. A glass, not multiple. So that's self-care for me. Foods. Like I said earlier, I'm plant-based. So I'm all about like getting like all those fruits and veggies and like sweet potatoes. I eat sweet potatoes a lot. I love sweet potatoes. You can do so many things with them, you guys. My favorite food on 80-day obsession, sweet potato toast. 2 ways to make it. You cut your sweet potatoes lengthwise into 1/4-inch slices. Then you rub like a tiny bit of coconut oil on either side, a teeny tiny bit. And I sprinkle them with like cinnamon and nutmeg, or you could do like paprika and cumin, turmeric. And then I'll roast them in the oven at 425 for 20 minutes. And depending on what containers you have, like I'll make them savory. So I would put like roasted greens, like kale or Swiss chard or mustard greens or whatever on them. And then I would use like chickpeas and mash them up. Put that on top of there. You could use tempeh bacon. So I did BLTs with them a lot. So I do like tempeh bacon, lettuce, tomato on that. If you have a teaspoon, put a little sun butter on there. absolutely delicious with the tempeh bacon and all that good stuff. But you can also make them in the toaster. You just have to like pop them down like 5 or 6 times to toast them all the way through until they get like crispy on the outside and soft on the inside. So I made sweet potato toast almost every week in big batches and had that in the fridge for my yellows. I loved sweet potatoes. One of my favorite ways to meal prep is to take big like cookie baking sheets, and I'd look at how many vegetables I needed for the day, and I would pick like all different colors, because colors, you know, they say like eat the rainbow. That's how you get your variety of nutrients. So you want to like change up your vegetables as much as you can. So I might have like purple cabbage and Brussels sprouts and bell peppers. And then I picked flavor profiles. So I'd be like, you know, maybe this sheet pan was bok choy and mushrooms and green onions, and I did like Asian spices on that one. And then maybe I do like bell peppers and onions and something else. And I would do like taco seasonings on that one. And I do Italian seasonings, and I would do like curries. So I would just look up seasoning blends, and there's tons of them on Fixate. Like you can literally go on Fixate, and there's like Mediterranean and Hawaiian and all these other flavor profiles. And so I would just season them differently and roast them in the oven. So I could put 4 sheet pans in the oven and have all different flavor profiles. And then I did eat fish, and I still do. So I'd make some fish for the week, and I just would wrap that in parchment paper with like lemons and a little bit of pink Himalayan sea salt and cracked black pepper. And I'd bake like, you know, some shrimp, some cod, some salmon or whatever. And so then, yeah, you just can like literally pick your proteins, pick all your veggies, prep those. Then my sweet potatoes were always my yellow. I'd have that, or maybe like I'd rotate each week. So I only get 2 yellows. So like I'd always have a sweet potato for one, and then I'd rotate what the other one was. And I went through basically quinoa, brown rice, millet. If you guys have never tried millet, go out and get you some millet because it's delicious. It's like nutty, and it's like a little heartier than quinoa, but lighter than oatmeal. It's one of my favorite grains to have. You can make it sweet or savory. So yeah, then I would just make like that. And I would put my stuff in the fridge separate because I like to mix and match it. That way I never got super bored. And I meal prep 3 days at a time. So I always meal prep twice a week, because if I make it all at the beginning of the week, I feel like the stuff at the end of the week, it's like soggy and old, and I'm over it. So for me, I could stick to the meal plan better if I prep twice a week.
I like that as well. I would end up throwing stuff away, but yours sounds so much more savory. So those flavor profiles I'm going to be doing for the next round.
Yeah, so go on Amazon and look up Flavor Gods. Okay, they have like 30 different seasoning blends that are pre-mixed, and they're all different like flavor profiles, like what I was talking about. Then you don't even have to make your own.
Oof,
And they have like low salt versions and low sodium versions, and they're like gluten-free, dairy-free, soy-free. Tessemae's has like tons of dressings and marinades that are super healthy, so you can marinate stuff in that. We Googled, if you Google oil-free buffalo sauce, the first recipe that comes up when you Google it is delicious. Donald and I put that on everything because it's free, because there's no oil in it. It was like Frank's hot sauce, apple cider vinegar, and a couple other things. So stuff like that. So Google like oil-free, whatever flavor you like, and get some marinades for your proteins and your veggies. So it's all about creating flavor. So if you're just cooking stuff by itself, it gets boring. I did beets a ton. I love beets. And I would cook them in like a saute pan with balsamic vinegar, because the balsamic caramelizes with the beets, and it gives it like this really great sweet flavor. And then that was really good mixed with like beet greens. If you guys don't know this, you can eat the greens, and they're really sweet and delicious. So they make great salads, but they're also really good sauteed. So get creative. Use it as an opportunity to try stuff you haven't tried before. On my blog, I have a whole list of sample plant-based ideas for every bracket for every meal option. So pre-workout, post-workout, meals 1 through 4, all the brackets. I wrote out like ideas for what you can make. So if you want to try to incorporate more new recipes, try new things, get more plant-based, you can check that out. There's a bunch of ideas.
Thank you. Okay, one of the last couple questions we have. for mom advice, sticking with your meal plan while your kids may be eating something different.
Yeah.
Um,
That's why meal prepping is so important. I mean, like, yes, I try to get my kids to like, the cool thing is Carrie and I both experienced this. We prepped all of our food separately and then like made our kids what we would normally make them. And if you have a husband, like it's kind of just easier if you're going all out the first time to do like your food and then like whatever they're going to have, unless your family is really adventurous and creative and then just like quadruple what you're cooking. But by the end of the program, what we found is our kids would see what we were eating over and over and over again. They'd smell it and they'd like start to get curious. They want to taste it. And then they liked it. And so it did get to where they would eat a lot of what we were eating. It didn't start that way. So in the beginning, it was a lot of like, here's my food, here's their food. But by the end, they really came around. And I think that's one of the cool things about using like Fixate. Those recipes are really family friendly. Like my brother is a phenomenal chef and they have the little dot, like when you look through it and you can find which ones are 80-day obsession approved recipes and use those. Like the meatballs, that can be your protein, but you can also do, so maybe you do spaghetti squash and meatballs, and for your kids, you do regular pasta with the same meatballs. So you can kind of like find easy ways like that. Like the proteins should be able to go across the board for everybody. And maybe your kids aren't as adventurous with their vegetables. So I always had bags of frozen veggies of what I knew they would eat. So like my kids will eat green beans and broccoli and they'll eat salad. So I always had frozen green beans, frozen broccoli in the freezer. That way I could just make theirs really easy. And then whatever protein I was having, they could have. And so just popped it together that way. So, I mean, there's really like, keep it simple. That's what I tell people. I think so many people, like, especially I was in the South for 14 years. People want to make these like elaborate, complicated recipes all the time. It's like casserole this and crock pot that. And like, those are great. Do that on the weekend or like on a special occasion. But for something like this, and honestly for me, for how busy we are and baseball and everything else, day-to-day life, like just keep it simple. We make a green, we make a yellow, and we make a red. Like vegetable, protein, carb. That's what goes on my kids' plate at night, you know? And I just keep it simple. I don't have to make some like big fancy recipe that's super complicated.
awesome. Thank you. And what motivates you?
I know what it feels like to feel like shit, you guys. Like I haven't always been this healthy, okay? If you read my blog, I got into this and I started my health journey because I hit rock bottom. I had anxiety attacks every single day, broke out in rashes all over my body. I had horrible allergies. My adrenals were shot. I didn't sleep at night. Like I was a wreck. I had put everything I had into taking care of two preemie babies and everybody else around me. And I didn't take care of myself. And I know how miserable I felt. And I know how awful I felt. And I know I wasn't even fun to be around. Like I wasn't the same person. I never want to go back to that. I feel so much more alive, so much happier, so much more energized when I put in just it's not even that much time and effort once you get used to it, you know? Once you get used to it and it's part of your routine, you just do it. And I mean, I just can't imagine ever going back. Like I feel so much better. I'm a better mom, a better friend, a better health coach because of the way I'm taking care of myself now. And this has just become our lifestyle. It takes time to make it a lifestyle, but 80 days is a really good start. So, I mean, if I could just get everybody to do it, I would. I'm gonna get as many people as I can. I'm just gonna keep telling people, like, let's go, guys, come on.
We're with you. We're totally with you. What have you done specifically to build your business when you decided, okay, I'm doing it, I'm going all in?
Stopped trying to be somebody else and decided to just be myself. I always would like look at these other coaches and be like, all right, this is what this successful coach is doing. I need to try to do that. And then I would like get so in my head trying to duplicate what they were doing. And then it was like, I couldn't figure it out and I couldn't be that person because I'm not that person. And I get frustrated and then I just like wouldn't post. or, whatever, like, 'cause you get so in your head, it becomes so complicated. And I look at other people for inspiration now and for motivation, but I don't have to do it the way they do it. I can make my own path. I can take best practices if there's something that works for me, but if it doesn't, just be yourself, like, and being vulnerable. The thing is, I think this is probably the biggest thing. I thought I had to have all the answers to be a good coach and for people to trust me. And I thought I had to be perfect. I had to never mess up on the workouts. I had to never mess up on the nutrition plan. I had to be like 100 all the time. And what I found was that when I was just real and authentic and showed people that I fall off the wagon too, but I get back on, I mess up, but I start back over. That's when my business changed. And when I, just started being like, this is who I am. You attract your people and your tribe. So the more you can do that, and use Instagram story. I'm like a huge proponent of Instagram story. It lets people have a little glimpse into your life.
I get a lot of, I feel like if I need to be successful myself before I can coach. And I had this specific conversation with a coach yesterday, and I said, if you've even lost 1 pound, you've had success.
Yeah.
If you have gained 1 ounce of confidence, you have had success. And we just need to hear that, though, and be reminded that you don't have to have the answers to help inspire someone else. But it does take the first step of working on yourself.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like, all you have to do is make the commitment. So it's an accountability group. So you say, I'm going to go do this, and let's be accountability partners. You're inviting them into it with you. So even if you guys are starting the journey at the same time, if this is your first day of 80-day obsession and you just signed up and you haven't started yet, but you invite 5 people to do it with you, you're a coach because you're willing to make the commitment to the program and you're willing to ask someone to come do it with you, and you're going to be their cheerleader. You don't have to have all the answers because you can go out and find them, and you guys are going to learn together. It's why it's called an accountability group. It's not called like, I have all the answers. I'm perfect. No, it's not. You're not like, do what I do. You're like, let's just do this together. It's just, you're willing. That's it. You just have to be willing to keep showing up every day.
Love it. Okay. Last question before we end this call. What is your exercise regimen leading up to Summit?
Oh, I'm doing Path to Progress like Autumn. So my group is actually we're starting on this coming Monday. So this week I'm doing a little obsessed. Then I'm going to do chisel, fix extreme, and a little obsessed again, leading up to Summit. Because then Lift 4 comes out, which I'm super excited for.
I am so excited for Lift 4.
So, yeah.
Awesome. And yeah, 2 of the girls on this call, they're going to Summit, whether they know it or not.
Oh, you guys, it's so fun.
And then they'll get to meet you in person.
You'll be so inspired. Like, I got back from Success Club. I got into my coaching group and into my talent groups, and I'm like, everybody needs to go on one of these trips, you guys. Like, to be around thousands of like-minded people who are like working on themselves and like loving on each other and encouraging each other and cheering each other on. Like, literally, there's no better feeling. I'm like, take me back to Mexico. Not because it was Mexico, but because of the people. I mean, Angie and I hung out. I never met her before. I didn't even know her. Now I'm like, oh, there's Angie. Look what she's doing today. Like, you become instant friends because you already have so much in common. So Summit's going to be amazing. I mean, it's going to be like 40,000 people who are like you, and they want to succeed. They want you to succeed. It's like, none of us are on the same, we're all on the same team. We're on Team Beachbody. We're on the same downline. Like, me doing this call doesn't do anything for my business, but I love Angie and I love helping people be healthy, and she would do the same for me. And it's like, you just got to go. It's just awesome. You can't put it in words, right? It's like, you have to experience it.
Yeah. And it can be challenging because you'll tell people you just have to go. Because if you don't go, you won't know.
Yeah,
You have to make that decision. The same thing with our quarterly Super Saturdays.
Yeah.
And it's one every 3 months. But I mean, there are going to be soccer games or softball games, and it just depending on what you can, slip into that time slot. I see so many moms that'll come, but they'll have to leave early. Hey, but they were able to make it for that first, hour and a half, and they got their cup filled and the knowledge, and then, would do a recap with their team.
Yeah.
So no, I absolutely love that. And I didn't realize the importance of it until, I don't even know when it was that I went to my first Super Saturday. I think I went to the Success Club trip before Super Saturday because Amy needed some help with the kids. And I'm like, free trip, I'll go. You want me to babysit? I'll babysit.
Nice.
So that was that deal. But I can't wait to see you at Summit. Thank you so much for this call. Great information to help people either going to get started with ADD obsession, working through it for the next round, and to realize this is a complete lifestyle mind shift that doesn't happen right away. You have to make the decision, but that through the process, you just realize how much your mind is so much stronger. And physically, you start to look better too.
Yeah.
Which won't hurt.
Yeah, tag me your pictures. Let me see your journeys, you guys. I love watching everybody go through this and like celebrating you. And if you're just starting out, just wait because the troll hair is coming and you're going to know what that means very soon.
That's so funny. And one last thing, I loved it when Calie and Amy and it was after we had worked out and we were by this beach body sign, and I needed to start doing more handstand photos because that's kind of my thing. And Calie's like, I don't know if I can do it. I was like, oh yeah, you can totally do it. And so she got up there, and your pose is way better than mine. P.S.
But I can't hold it without, there was like a prop, like I had a little wall, like a prop. It was like the wall of confidence. Like I can't flip over because there's a wall.
I like that. With the Beachbody logo.
Wow. I tried and I did it, but I didn't think I could do it. You think I'd learn by now to just try first and stop saying I can't do it.
Well, that little bit of someone else telling you, oh, you can, that encompasses the accountability, the coach mindset spirit of the encouragement.
Yes.
And it doesn't even have to be labeled as coach. But still, with this business and what we do day in, day out, we are that, yes, you can. Yes, you can. Just try.
Just try. Exactly.
Just try ADD obsession.
Just try it.
Thank you. I'm going to stop recording, and let's take a picture after I stop recording.
Okay.